So this backs up. We were talking about how when you hear someone come out from the NIH or Dr. Fauci or whoever, and they talk about what we need to do to fight against COVID or to protect us or to treat us, they leave out a lot of stuff. They never mention Medicare for all, that would have saved 200,000 lives since COVID started. They never bring that up. The one thing that would have saved 200,000 lives, you never mention it. They never mention that you should get, that there's treatments, like that there's monoclonals now. They don't mention that you should have your vitamin Ds. You should get your vitamin D up. They never mention any of that. They also never mention, they always go, we don't want them COVID patients clogging up our ICUs, which I think is interesting. Well, I don't understand. People with COVID clog up the ICUs, but nobody else does. Well, you're going to take away a hospital bed from somebody who was in a car accident. Well, was that person driving drunk? Did they deserve that bed more than someone with COVID? Was that person driving recklessly? I mean, are we going to have a litmus test for who gets the ICUs now? How about if that person's obese? Do they have a right to the bed? What if that guy's a smoker? What if someone smoked all their life and now they need a lung transplant and they're in the ICU? Do they get that bed over someone who gets COVID? What about someone who's a rock climber and they fall and hurt themselves and they need to be in the... Does that person who takes on purpose risky behavior, does that person deserve an ICU bed? I think they all deserve ICU beds, by the way, because we're the richest country in the world and we can afford them. But guess what we can't do is we can't invent them when they're not there, because what we've been doing in the United States is closing down hospitals and getting rid of ICU beds because they're not cost effective. New York has lost a staggering 20,000 hospital beds over the last 2 decades to budget cuts and insurance overhauls. Insurance overhauls? What? That means the insurance company dictated, I can't pay for that. I can't make enough money off that bed. So they got rid of it. Insurance overhauls, complicating local and state efforts to battle the coronavirus, according to records and experts. You mean it would have been helpful had we had 20,000 extra hospital beds in New York City? You think that would have helped? New York State. The Empire State has 73,931 licensed hospital beds in 2000 before years of cuts and closures shrank the number to just 53,000 in 2020. According to records obtained by the New York State. That's a big, I don't know what I don't know how to do percentages, but 53,000. So they cut it from 73,900 to 53,000. So that looks like they cut it 20,900. So let's just say 21,000. 21,000 is what percent of 73.9? What is, I don't know how to do that, man. What of means times. I know that. But
somebody in the live chat gives that answer.
I'll ask Suri. Suri, hey Suri, 21,000 is what percent of 74,000? So it's almost 29% of their hospital beds since 2000. That's a big number.
Who's governor of that state?
Well, it was Andrew Cuomo. And now it's that Hochul, and she's an alarmist who's in the pocket of Big Pharma. So look at that. That in New York State, they cut the bed. What? Why would you be doing that? Okay. About 60 million people, nearly 1 in 5 Americans, live in rural areas and depend on their local hospitals for care. Last year, 20 of those hospitals closed, making 2020 a record year for rural hospital closures. Across the United States, 136 rural hospitals have closed since 2010. According to Cecil C. Shep Center of Health Services Research, of the states that have seen at least one rural hospital close over the past decade, Texas leads with 21 rural hospital closures. It's followed by Tennessee, which has seen 16 hospitals close. Hospitals. Where are those people going to go now? More than half the counties in America have no intensive care beds. Did you know that? More than half. the counties in America have no ICU beds. What? In America. Posing a particular danger for more than 7 million people who are 60 years and older. Older patients who face the highest risk of serious illness or death from the rapid spread of COVID-19. Those are the people who are most at risk. Overall, 26 million people live in counties with hospitals but no ICUs. About a quarter of them older than 60 years old. Nearly 11 million more Americans reside in counties with no hospital. Some 2.7 million of them are seniors. They live in a county that doesn't have a hospital. That's amazing. Got to cross state lines. Go get health care. Here's a map showing rural hospital closures since 2005. Look at all the closures. From 2005 to 2010, those are in blue. And from 2010 present, they're in yellow.
Wow.
So it's really accelerated the rural hospital closures. Wow. America. Fuck yeah. So this idea that you got to, we don't have enough hospital beds is probably true because they've been closing them. So what a rational society would do was, how about some spending to, I don't know, give us some more hospital beds? You ever think about that? You ever think about all those counties that don't even have an intensive care unit? Maybe we provide them. Just have them on the ready in case of an emergency. Because we're the richest country in the world. And we can afford it. You think it would cost more than $5 trillion to have enough hospitals everywhere and healthcare? I don't think so. Well, why do I pick $5 trillion? Because that's how much money they gave to Jeff Bezos and the rest of the billionaire class at the beginning of COVID. They gave him $5 trillion. Unbelievable. It's almost, you can't even believe it. And then you're supposed to feel bad if you get sick with COVID because you're clogging up a bed for someone else who's supposedly more deserving of that bed than you. So I just point to that. And again, they want you to be angry at your neighbor for getting sick with COVID. They don't want you to talk about this. They don't want you to talk about we don't have Medicare for all and that 200,000 people would still be alive today. They don't want you to talk about that. They want you to be angry at who you perceive to be a Trumper. They want you to be angry at a right-winger. They want you to be angry at your neighbor. They want you to be angry at a teacher, a school bus driver, a hospital worker. I'm not going to be angry at my neighbor. I'm going to be angry at the people and keep my eye on the real maniacs in this society, which are the oligarchs, which are doing this. That's what's the problem in America. We live in a rapacious oligarchy. Not that my neighbor is going to get sick from COVID. Hey, we're doing live stand-up shows in Los Angeles, December 3rd, 10th, and 17th. The first 3 Fridays in December in Studio City at Two Roads Theater. If you're in Los Angeles area, see you there.